hand side of the forward line, which of course by the end we knew would be Fede Valverde in that high. Actually, they said, well, no, but that's not the case. My future is written till 2024.
La Liga only 2 points clear of their crosstown rival here today. Real Madrid have today. Very pleased to be joined by Graham Hunter. Very good afternoon. Or there, which will quickly pass into infamy for
to our viewers around the world. Try explaining that to breathe down Danny Carvajal's back. It's absolutely vital for you.
For any Real Madrid fan, it's always hugely.
The players out on the field, and it is a close in midfield. Aurelian Tchouameni comes in alongside Dani Ceballos in midweek. 2 goals from Luis Suarez. He is among 8 players who still
take a draw if they can. It is occasionally the Almaria, but Rubina's side have options. It's a sad victim of the fact that they're making the stadium into an absolutely Barcelona do, and when it rains, as Bruno pointed out, the ball moves slightly slower, but they're good enough to get rid of that.
It's a good cross there by Dani Ceballos. It nearly reached. Here's Vini with a great piece of play, and the cross towards Benzema that forced the save from Fernando. Not sure how much of that Benzema got, or if it was one of the two kings. Now here's Vini Jr. again, finding Benzema. It was the combination that nearly provided the open up a couple of minutes ago, and this time it does. Vini is just unstoppable when he gets a chance to run at a fullback. You might as well just take the fullback out of the way because he'll beat him. And then the cross was perfect as well, and it will be one of the easiest finishes in Karim Benzema's career. Tapping it home inside 5 minutes. Real Madrid ahead. Vinicius to Benzema again. More, I totally agree. It was said earlier this season, but
his life is made ugly by racists on and off the pitch.
Now here's Lagi Ramazani at the other end, getting a shot away, which Thibaut Courtois was very confident was heading over the bar.
Evaporates any possible effect of minutes going by and no goals.
Benzema, Vinicius moving ahead of him, and the 1-2, and very nearly the finish as well. It was beautifully crossing. It comes down to Rodrigo. Got a lot of work to do here. Surrounded by white.
Count the one they lost at Getafe when he was at fault, caught on the ball. Animal, who's well liked within the squad and can play.
And he eventually goes down off the wall. Back to Ceballos, who's fouled again. This time by Ramazani, because that means we can get picked up by Vini, who will have a run at Puigmal, fires it in, and
that's a booking. That has some of personnel. He meant in terms of formation, what style of football does.
This is Eduardo Camavinga making the challenge here, who's having to fill in at left back.
Whether they were 0-0 or 1-0 down. So yeah, I do agree, that's right.
Tries to flick the ball away from Samu Costa, gets it back to Benzema! And it's 2 goals for Karim Benzema, but it is 2 wonderful assists from the Brazilian wingers. Firstly Vinicius, and now Rodrigo with something really special. He had so much to do when he raced into the area, but the back heel to keep the ball on the byline, and then the change of direction, the strength, and then the precision to cut it back to give Benzema another comfortable finish. Sensational from Rodrigo.
After this, we've
got to be frustrated because his team had the ball, and just as Graham was saying, you make games through injury. 16 goals in 21 starts. Vazquez has got 4 in the middle. The cross is deep beyond everybody. A flick from Mendes as far as Vinicius, who would.
Afternoon so far.
Ceballos snapping. Might be offside here against Rodrigo, and it is, so that
side they must beat, irrespective of how else you played today.
An offside flag goes up. Rio, aren't they? And here's Ubalang Mendes trying to get.
And you play 2 and rest 3.
Now here's Ramazani, almost pulling one back. Thibaut Courtois looked like he had the post covered there, but it was a decent cross in. Thought about the shot, but instead rolls it wide for Vazquez. And Almaria, it travelled a long way without a touch.
Yeah, and the Frenchman is on for
pass for Vazquez. Cut back, and Rodrigo leaving it. Back to Lucas Vazquez. The cross Was looking for, as he's one of those on for yellow cards. His header away. Looking for Rudiger, who can head across goal. But Benzema in an offside position, so
really high average. But in terms of how sharp he is, how absolutely
trying to get away from Chumi, who gets at the Almaria defence, this time into the area. And this time the deflection back for Ramazani, headed into the run of Lazaro to Lucas, plenty in the middle.
Oh,
and he might get a penalty here, and he does.
Andy, that's a